The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, folks. This is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tommy O'Brien. This is the Morning Market Kickoff. Let's take a look at what we got going on. I was looking at Palantir just before the market opened, just for myself. You now have a lot of kind of vocal analysts giving this a bearish target, which is valid, I think. This is extraordinarily high PE. Market cap is $61 billion. I do think that Palantir, has a spot in this realm. It's like, in my opinion, if you're trying to get into the AI defense sector, you can't get into Anduril, right? Because they're private. I so hope that company goes public at some point. But you can get in Palantir, right? I think they have some really neat stuff. The U.S. military loves these guys, gives them good contracts. But they just dilute the stock constantly. And that is the struggle of being a Palantir bag holder. Anyways, we reached a high of 29.30 on no volume. If you ever get some major pullback, you're, thinking around this area. But yeah, something to look at. I don't know. I didn't really have a major kind of thought into Palantir. I was just seeing some people give it a bearish valuation earlier today. Let's move on to see what's going on here with the E-mini up about 0.2%. So retail came in kind of soft. We'll talk about that. Futures up a little bit on that. SPY up about 0.17% pre-market. The Russell futures up about 1%. NQs up 0.25%. No data on comp right now on Thinkorswim. Dow futures up about 0.41%. And the Dow Jones up 0.2% itself. Now gold is moving a little bit, up 0.52% pre-market. Silver is completely sideways, and then copper is doing what copper does, down about 1.46% right now pre-market, trading at $4.40 on that contract. And crude coming down at $80.56. Now, if you want some insight on what to do with that, again, I was talking about it yesterday, but get that Tiger Forex report on TFNN.com under the newsletters tab. Teddy Kekshat is the author of that newsletter, and he comes on Tommy's show every Wednesday. So, really check that out because he has some good insight on it. He made a nice call when crude was at a pretty low level as well. Tesla up 1.23%, and that dollar still trading near the lower end of its range at 104, kind of bouncing off that level. But we'll see what happens with that. Of course, you also get some conversation about rate decreases coming from Powell himself. Oh man, I didn't even see Disney. This going out with a whimper. 96.91. Apple riding that wave after a major valuation hike on the equity around 276 from 234. Lucid recovering a little bit from yesterday. Wow. Yeah, talk about that. And then I wanted to look at Rivian just for myself again. You had kind of a sell-off yesterday as well. This is on a year-to-date. I just want to see what it looks like over the past month when we really had a major run-up. Is this Rivian? Yeah, okay. You kind of see this big hike up and the sell-off on it. But it's nice to bounce off that 17 level and kind of fizzle out in the middle. We'll see what happens. Positive pre-market. All right, let us talk about... 1 second to pull it up. I want to talk about Bank of America earnings, of course. Don't want to put that on a monthly. Yeah, so the Q2 earnings, revenue and EPS beat, $1.5 billion credit loss provision, Q4 growth, net interest income, and that growth. It's reported a second quarter fiscal 2024 net income of $6.9 billion, EPS of 0.83. That beat analyst consensus. Revenue net of interest expense increased 0.8% year over year to $25.5 billion, beating the analyst consensus estimate of $25.22. Consumer banking was $2.59 billion versus $2.85 billion year over year. Okay. Global wealth and investment management, $1.03 billion versus $978 million year over year. And global banking, 2.12 versus 2.65 year over year. Global markets, 1.41 versus 1.18 billion year over year. Net interest income was 13.7 billion. That was off about 3% year over year, as higher deposit costs more than offset higher asset yields and modest loan growth. Okay, so non-interest income was 11.7 billion. That was up about 6% year over year. Non-interest income, nice for them on that at least. Provision for credit losses was 1.5 billion compared to 1.1 billion. Efficiency ratios. So, yeah, okay, this is pretty crazy. Roughly 1 million credit card accounts during the quarter, pretty decent. And then the CFO said that we announced plans for an 8% increase in our quarterly common stock dividend, 26 cents per share, pending board approval. That would be pretty good for bag holders on that. And then you have Morgan Stanley as well. Trying to get anything that had kind of earnings out in the beginning here. So there you go, off about 2.66% right now, 17 minutes before the open, trading on 102.45. Revenue growth in the wealth management segment slowed 2% in the second quarter compared to 16% jump a year ago. Net new assets came in at 36 billion, below the 89.5 billion last year. Bank's wealth business had flourished under the current CEO that generated more stable revenue. It aims to manage 10 trillion in client assets. The growth in the wealth business helped Morgan Stanley weather the industry-wide 2-year slump in investment banking, better than Wall Street peer Goldman Sachs. Although Goldman Sachs has done well recently as well. The segment's revenue increased 6.79% in the quarter from 6.66 billion a year earlier, and the bank's net income rose to 3.1 billion, or $1.82 a share, in the 3 months ending June 30th, and that was compared with 2.2 billion, or $1.24 per share a year earlier. Although the analysts on average had expected 165 against that 182. So kind of good for what we're looking at anyways. Let me see if I can find, and then Schwab, of course, kind of got knocked. They didn't have as many brokerage accounts as estimates projected. They had about a 985,000 in Tuesday in the statement they released. But, and of course, it's kind of, I wonder how they beat that, right? I think there would be some value, and this, I'm talking for me here, talking about this to see like really how they're competing, against something like Robinhood. Of course, there's so many different services that Schwab offers. I was TD Ameritrade initially, and then I got pushed over to Schwab. But it'd be interesting to see really who their major competitor is in that realm. And the new brokerage accounts were up at 985,000. That is up from 960,000, but it's less than the 1 million that the analysts had. So you kind of have that going for them, or against them rather. Schwab reported 1.33 billion in net income for the 3-month period, beating the 1.23 billion average of analyst estimates. And earnings per share were 66 cents. That also topped expectations. Shares of the company dropped 3.3% early trading in New York. The stock had risen 9.1% this year through the close of trading Monday. And that's about what we have for any pertinent earnings. Folks, you stay right there, and we'll be right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Tigers, it's back. The annual July Tiger Dollar Sale. If you've been wanting to try one of our products, from our stellar newsletters to educative webinars, now is the time. From now until July 22nd, we're offering a 20, 30, even a 40% bonus on Tiger Dollar purchases. After being applied to your account, your Tiger Dollars will be used for all purchases. They can be easily transferred and never expire. If you want to receive a 20, 30, or even a 40% bonus when purchasing Tiger Dollars, now's your chance. This is a perfect opportunity to try out a newsletter or save big on your current subscription. This deal is only available until July 22nd, so lock in your bonuses fast. Go to TFNN.com today to lock in your bonus. TFNN, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
This portion of the morning market kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back, folks. This is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tommy O'Brien. We're just looking at some quarterly earnings before the break. We have one last one. I just want to talk about United Healthcare, and honestly, kind of a potential outlook for some time to come, right? So they had a massive. All right, let's talk about it. So it's increasing the estimate hit from a cyber attack of its Change Healthcare unit that happened a few months ago, or they got totally locked down. That was bad. We're going to talk about how another cyber attack actually kind of helped us a little bit, which is kind of bizarre to say. United Healthcare did top second quarter earnings, kept full guidance intact. There is some conversation as well with a potential Trump win at the polls this year that some of these healthcares will rally, which is kind of crazy. Let's talk about this. So the estimates, analysts is expecting United Healthcare Q2 EPS of $6.66. That is up 8.5% from a year ago. Revenue was seen rising 6.3% to $98.73 billion. Okay. The results were the adjusted EPS rose 10.75% to $6.80 a share. And then revenue grew 6.4% to $98.8 billion. Okay. The underlying medical cost ratio is in line with forecasts. excluding additional costs absorbed to help providers facing disruption due to the changed healthcare cyber attack. And the outlook was full year EPS of $27.50, wow, to $28, and the outlook factors in total change healthcare costs of $1.9 to $2.05 a share. Okay. You're roughly 10% on the EPS. A little less. Management, which management increased by 70 to 75 cents, the cost on the EPS. That's pretty interesting. Anyways, we're trading at 531.51. That's up 3.14%. Now, let's talk about in a realm where the cyber attacks can actually help. So let's talk about this. First thing that's, I think we should talk about is Powell basically discussing, I loved hearing this, which is nice, and he gave some good insight into it, but he indicates that the Fed won't wait until inflation is down to 2% before cutting rates. And that makes sense, right? You kind of have this, how can I say it? It builds, right? These kind of restrictions, right? So you don't see the true effects, right? The lagging effects, essentially, until, a few months afterwards, which makes sense, right? So you're aiming near that 2% because you can detect that it's restrictive enough, and, a few months, after this, you can really see the restrictive policy take place. And that's kind of what Powell is saying, right? So he said, let's see, speaking of the Economic Club of Washington, D.C., Powell referenced the idea that the central bank policy works, again, with long and variable lags to explain why the Fed wouldn't wait for its target to be hit. Okay, Jerome Powell said Monday the central bank will not wait until inflation hits that 2% to cut interest rates, which is awesome. But the point is what are they looking at? What do they want to see next month? And they say, okay, now we know this is sufficiently restrictive. If we keep this going to a point where we see 2%, we've already overshot, and now the coming months will the policy will be far too restrictive for it. So instead, the Fed is looking for greater confidence that inflation will return to 2%. Again, I'd be getting curious to see what they're looking at to be like, okay, this is really this placeholder number. What increases the confidence is more good inflation data. He's been saying that forever. He said that a hard landing for the U.S. economy was not a likely scenario. That makes sense. I think this economy is still kind of strong, even with these kind of restrictive policies. Monday was Powell's first public speaking appearance since the CPI in June, and he's going to speak again at the end of July. So you had retail data, right? Which is also kind of good as well. You have stock futures rising after that. Stock futures climbed after solid retail sales suggested the economy's main driver is still holding up as inflation recedes and the Federal Reserve nears to start rate cuts. Equity futures signaled the market market is poised to hit fresh all-time highs. Traders also waited through the financial earnings. We just went through Bank of America and Morgan Stanley as well, and the Treasury 10 yields par declines after the economic report. The U.S. retail sales rose in June by the most in 3 months, suggesting resilient consumer spending at the end of the second quarter. And the retail purchases, excluding the motor vehicles, not just adjusted for inflation, rose 0.4%. So you have this momentary suppression, though, in retail sales. One, due to lower gas prices, which is pretty nice for us all at the bank, especially during, at the gas station, pump, especially during summertime. But you also have that massive auto cyber attack, and that's depressing some of the earnings as well, which is pretty nuts. Let me see if I can pull this up. Look at this one. And we were talking about, that being the major issue for some of these dealers, right? That CDK cyber attack. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of moves forward with it. Yeah. I don't know, nothing too pertinent in this article, I guess. But, all right. Sorry, I'm trying to get this up. This is some news that I found kind of interesting. And again, it's this kind of attempt to control some of these areas of kind of more wild inflation, right? And we've been seeing still a pretty resilient living costs in the CPI, right? And what Biden just did, which is super fascinating, all right? So he calls for a 5% cap on annual rent increases as he tries to show plans to tame inflation. Let's talk about this a little bit. So Joe Biden is ready to propose a 5% cap on annual rent increases for tenants of major landlords as he tries to show he's doing something about the high cost of housing. Okay, fine. Plan would require solid Democratic control of Congress to become law. The person familiar with the plan spoke on the condition of anonymity. Biden himself previewed the announcement at his NATO conference, basically saying it's time to get something back in order. So the median national rent was $1,411 a month in June. That is up roughly $1,150 in early 2021. Asking prices for rentals jumped in the aftermath of the pandemic and have since cooled. But the Harvard University Joint Center for Housing Studies found in its most recent report that half the renters were cost burdened because they spend more than 30% of their income on housing and utilities. Now, there is some people screwing with this a little bit, and we're going to talk about it when we get back.
The consistency you're looking for is closer than you think. 1 or 2 adjustments are usually all you need to change your equity curve from red to green and keep it there. Come join Larry Pesavento live to learn what separates the winners from the losers. Join Larry Pesavento on the 2nd and 4th Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time, where Larry will show you the market setting up and, most important of all, the state of mind of a winning trader. By watching Larry trade, you'll learn the Fibonacci levels, you'll learn how to apply A to B to C to D trading patterns, you'll learn trade management, pattern recognition, and much more. Join Larry Pesavento Friday, July 12th and Friday, July 26th, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern Time for 3 hours of live trading. For this month only, use promo code LarryJuly24 at checkout to save $50 on your first month subscription. For all the information and to reserve your spot today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
The stock market is a delicate, interconnecting web of commodities, equities, and trader psychology. When one string of the web is pulled, it has a ripple effect across the broader market. This is where opportunity lies. But how are you to gather all of this information into one cohesive model when you're already spending your energy looking for any possible trade opportunities? Luckily, you don't have to worry about that, as Tom O'Brien has brought all important market news to you in one single newsletter, Market Insights. Market Insights provides a daily overview of what's happening in the indexes, bonds, gold, and more. Follow along with Tom daily as he analyzes the components that affect the overall movement of the stock market, giving insight into how each one plays either a bullish or bearish role. Tom also analyzes specific equities that he believes has the potential to make huge returns, and his track record proves his analysis right. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Don't let the market leave you in the dust.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. Jacob Shoup filling in for Tommy O'Brien. We're at the market open right now. Let's take a look at what we have. We have the E-mini up about 0.26%, with the spot about 0.24%. Russell futures up about 1.08%. NQs about 0.26%, and the comp about 0.3%. You can see the Dow futures and Dow Jones up roughly the same, about 0.53%. Gold contract kind of moving a little bit today, which is kind of nice. Moving up back towards that high of 2,454. Problem is, you keep kind of trying to reach that on low volume. You're coming back down. So we'll see, kind of what it does today if we can push past it. If it's on such low volume, you're just going to keep retracing that level, right, and get that kind of consolidation period. Again, strongly recommend checking out Tom O'Brien's gold report and listening to Tom O'Brien with Tim Ord as well, because they both just dive into it, which is fantastic. If you did want to check out that newsletter, you can go over to TFNN.com. Before you do that, get yourself some Tiger Dollars, some great deals, 20%, 30%, 40% bonus. These go towards all your purchases, first and foremost. They don't expire. Then you can run over right to the newsletters tab and get that gold report by Tom O'Brien. Let's see what else we got going on. Tesla's still moving. Unbelievable. Still Dynamics kind of on the move, too. Interesting. You have a lot of stuff going on in steel. And by that, I mean, Cleveland-Cliffs buying Stelco, which is kind of interesting. And then the dollar not doing too much today. I probably assume it's going to stay in this lower range, especially when you get lower interest rates coming in potentially. And then Disney doing nothing at all. Give me 1 second. Okay, so before we went to the break, we're talking about Biden capping 5% on annual rent increases, which is cool. And yeah, I've seen a lot of conversation around it. It's like, okay, you're like messing with the market and everything like that. You need to let the normal market forces go into it, and that is a valid argument. I will say there is some voodoo going on in it, right? And specifically with RealPage. And I spoke about this news, and this came out on June 3rd, which is insane because it seemed way longer than that. This is the FBI raiding corporate landlord and major rent price fixing probe. Okay, so this is Cortland Management. These guys, I don't want to get the number wrong, but they manage a lot of single-family rentals, okay? I did do a TikTok on this, too. Go check us out on TikTok as well. Strongly recommend that. But essentially the idea here, we'll just look at this, right? Dramatic turn of events that could have far-reaching implications for renters nationwide. The FBI conducted an unannounced raid on Cortland Management headquarters. Again, this is from June 3rd. In Atlanta on Wednesday, May 22nd. This action is part of a criminal antitrust investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice and allegations that Cortland Management has been involved in the conspiracy to artificially inflate apartment rents. This raid is more than just legal drama. It is a significant development that could impact millions of renters. Absolutely. And you think about it, a lot of these major, I'm looking at a building right now out of the office window that I know uses RealPage. The building I live in uses RealPage. What is the potential that a lot of these major management companies, do you think it's just Cortland Management? Who's to say? Cortland Management got hit. I know there are offices in Atlanta, but keep in mind this major RealPage lawsuit was coming out of Phoenix, Arizona. And Cortland Management has a pretty good stranglehold in Phoenix, Arizona as well. So, we're looking at people that were, at the nexus of this. What does it look like on, that next concentric ring? What does it look like on the periphery? You know what I mean? And we haven't seen that yet because this is relatively new. This initial raid on Cortland Management was just May 22nd. The scheme allegedly works by encouraging landlords to adopt RealPage's pricing recommendations, which they do 80 to 90% of the time. This coordinated effort among landlords to follow the software suggestion drives up rental prices by reducing the availability of units. As one of the RealPage's architects reportedly stated, the goal is to prevent landlords from undervaluing their properties. And if you didn't go with that pricing model, you got dropped from it, which is absurd. I think that was initially one of the suspect kind of signs. Thereby ensuring higher rents nationwide. Cortland Management, this is 85,000 rental units across 13 states, is a significant player in this alleged conspiracy. The impact of such practices is starkly evident in Atlanta, where 81% of multifamily rental unit prices are set using software, and rents have skyrocketed by 80% since 2016. This price surge has occurred despite increasing vacancy rates, which would typically lead to lower rents. The adoption of RealPage's price recommendations by numerous landlords between 2015 and 17, followed by RealPage's acquisition of main rival Lease Rent Option in 2017, has given it unparalleled control over rental pricing. I mean, this could be one of the largest antitrust kind of cases. I mean, this is a criminal case too with the FBI. So, given that news, and then given what we were just talking about with, what we were just talking about with Biden, you have the DOJ, I'm going to pull this over now, preparing rental market collusion lawsuits. Okay, so the Justice Department is gearing up to challenge what it says is collusive conduct in the rental housing market with a lawsuit against a software company. Of course, we're talking about RealPage here. So the staff recently recommended a civil lawsuit against RealPage. Now they have the criminal antitrust investigation. This is going to be the civil lawsuit against RealPage that would accuse the company of selling software that enables landlords to legally share confidential pricing information in order to collude on setting rents. The recommendation escalates the investigation to the Antitrust Division's leadership. Assistant Attorney General Jonathan Cantor's in on that. The Biden administration has made cracking down on anti-competitive activity a cornerstone of its domestic economic agenda. And keep in mind, too, living costs is one of the major drivers. CPI, at least. And it's been big. For millions of renters, okay, this is the State of the Union that Joe Biden, for millions of renters are cracking down on big landlords who break antitrust laws. Justice Department also prioritized so-called algorithmic price fixing, with multiple officials, including Cantor, saying the use of a software to fix prices does not provide cover for illegal collusion. RealPage could come by the end of the summer. Listen, if you live in an apartment complex, you should check and see if RealPage is used by the management there. And if it comes out that, seriously, it's weird. I think if you're using the software in some capacity, you're obviously feeding into whatever they're doing. And I would argue there's a good chance that super large management companies probably know about what's going on. Now, that needs to be proven. And it could be the fact that that's not the case, right? And they're still going with these higher rents. So they're like, hey, I'm not going to look too much into this. But still, check that out. Maybe you could join a class action on it. So the company doesn't property managers already targeted a class action lawsuit by renters. That's mainly in Arizona. Check. RealPage's centralized pricing algorithm was allegedly used to set rents for more than 50,000 apartments. Good Lord. That's in a DC complaint alone. See, there's a lot of stuff going on here. The market can do that kind of stuff. Folks, stay right there. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, He has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ. All right, welcome back, folks. We got to talk about it, and it is crypto and Bitcoin in particular, trading at 64,000 roughly USD for every Bitcoin. That's, I mean, July 7th, it was 55,850 roughly. Yeah, that's like 9 days. And so what happened? I mean, you had Trump give a speech at the Bitcoin conference. JD Vance, his VP, his Veep, is pro crypto. You have Larry Fink being like, no, this is legit. And it's like, well, there we go, right? I mean, now you get, you know, I take a pause because I'm like, well, you know, you got these big guys with their hands in it, and the little man loses to that. But let's look at this. The Trump speech at Bitcoin conference will mark a pivotal moment for crypto, no doubt. Former U.S. President Donald Trump is scheduled to speak in person at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville. It's going to be later this month. He has more to say. Despite injuries he sustained from the assassination attempt, crypto is now on a campaign trail. Man, I can't even imagine what he's going to say because I don't know what Trump knows about crypto. But there's no doubt. I mean, doesn't he have hold on, I got to check this out. I think he has like an NFT or something like that. Like, of course he does, right? There we go. Wow. Yeah, he does. Are these on the blockchain? I promise this is not in support of this at all. This is just kind of crazy. Digital trading cards. Wow. Man, this guy knows how to sell stuff, dude. That's nuts. So, yeah. Cool. Right on. Yeah, okay. So, NFT buyers using crypto. So, what is this? Is this going to be 47? Okay, so these are all NFTs. Okay, there's just different things. Look at that. So he's going to push this, no doubt. These are NFTs. It was interesting. I was actually talking, someone was messaging me. Okay, I'm going to get this off the screen. That is nuts. I had no idea about that. I thought someone had said something to me about it, and I was like, yeah, okay, man. But I guess it's real. The NFTs make sense. And what I mean by that is, what an NFT really is just, you know, valuation theory in a sense, right? Like, how can I make a digital asset unique, right? Like, I have a painting of the or whatever. I don't know. I have a Dali painting, okay? And that's a unique Dali painting. It's not a print. It's the unique thing, and I have it verified and all that. So how do we do that in the digital world?
They're like receipts in a way, right? And the tech and the concept behind that is no doubt going to be important going forward, right? Especially when you have China getting on the blockchain for all of its international trade. You're going to have to use, quote unquote, NFT technology to verify, either certain things that are owned on the blockchain, whether that's computing power or whatever it is. We could talk about that all day long. Obviously, that doesn't 100% correlate to little pictures online and people speculating on those. I mean, that's just speculation. But anyways, kind of interesting. I'm definitely going to listen to what he has to say at that crypto event. And obviously, that's highly bullish for Bitcoin, right? And then on another level, you have Larry Fink. Ooh, he's always, well, not always, but for a while been very openly pro Bitcoin. And it's even more so now. So the Bitcoin price demands 63,000 flip as BlackRock CEO calls Bitcoin legitimate. Let's see data from, we're seeing that. I want to get what Larry Fink said, though. Let me see if I can find his commentary. Obviously, he's been pro that for quite a while. Yeah, okay, here we go. So he says, quote, this is on CNBC, I believe Bitcoin is a legit financial instrument. Okay, I'm not getting much on it, it's a video, but the point is you're now having kind of institutional support for this, right? And Bitcoin, I've been talking with Ethereum and everything like that, how I do think that's probably more of the future, at least on that blockchain. But, Ethereum has a major risk to it, which is essentially going to be that, I forget what his name is, like Vitaly or something like that, Vasily. He can just create Ethereum whenever he wants, right? There's no cap on that supply, whereas there is on Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin uses that proof of work concept. So, you have to solve those hash algorithms, and then you create more, right? And obviously every so often you need, double the amount of power to create, the same unit of Bitcoin. And this kind of controls the cost a little bit. Whereas Ethereum, you do this proof of stake, and really in reality, the guy can just produce Ethereum wherever he wants. And he said it too. That's not me being conspiracy. He literally said it. He's like, well, and anyway, we could just create more if we needed to. So, that's something to consider as well with it. But yeah, no doubt, 63,000, 64,000 right now on Bitcoin. And it continues to push its way up. Pretty interesting. Even Kramer was like, I'm a skeptic, but he's no longer. That's good. Yeah, Fink said, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. I believe in the opportunity today. I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I see it as digital gold. I can't make a cool scepter out of Bitcoin, though, so that's an L compared to gold. Anyways, yeah. So you're, like I said, the major point of this is you have massive institutional support for it. You obviously had Bitcoin decreasing because of this Mt. Gox issue and money leaving out of it. And I'm sure he's stepping in to be like, hey, we actually have a lot of this, so do not tank my asset. Which is most likely what happened with that, I would say, and why he's speaking about it now. All right, let's move on. We can talk about TSMC. Taiwan Semiconductor, they're up about 1.2%. They were crushing sales targets ahead of the Q2 earnings. Released its June revenue report. The company reported NT 207 billion. That is obviously the Taiwanese money in revenue for the month. This is a Taiwan dollar sum that works out to roughly 6.5 billion in USD. Good Lord. Assuming that the average exchange rate during the quarter was the same. Yeah, right. TSMC has not reported an official US dollar figure for the month yet. The fact that we now have 3 monthly revenue reports means we can model how much full quarter revenue. These reports seem to indicate that TSMC is making a lot of money off the massive global investment in generative AI. The company has seen high double-digit sales growth for each month of the last 3 months, which means that revenue growth for the entire second quarter was high. We can estimate the company's second quarter revenue already. Yeah, that's going to be roughly about 20.69 billion It is unreal. And honestly, NVIDIA's Blackwell and all their stuff coming forward, still being fabbed by TSMC. That's not going to change. And you had Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, say there is a potential that TSMC could raise their prices. They're at a very low price right now, and NVIDIA would still be hyper profitable. Something for TSMC to consider on that. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back for a short segment.
The Gold Report. As a precious metal, gold is still king. It continues to hold the most effective safe haven and hedging properties across the global major trading hubs of the London OTC market, the U.S. futures market, and the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his weekly gold report every Monday morning for subscribers, consisting of coverage of the XAU, HUI, GDX, the dollar, bonds, the South African rand, as well as 25 different mining equities with specific buy-sell recommendations. The Gold Report. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. Subscribe to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report newsletter now at TFNN.com.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. This is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tommy O'Brien. We just had a short segment here talking about Taiwan Semiconductor and their kind of outlook for the quarter. They're probably going to crush it, as you've been saying, and they still have room to raise costs, which I'm not sure if they'll do. I mean, I'm sure at some point they will, probably when demand slows down a little bit for the chips in total. But still something interesting to keep in mind. You had an Anthropic CEO come out and said that you're going to have AI models pretty soon costing like $1 billion to train, and then $100 billion. Only costs about $100 million to train the largest language models. That is pretty nuts. Let me see what he said. The Anthropic CEO mentioned these numbers when he discussed the development of AI, generative artificial intelligence, to AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. And that is a massive leap. And when everyone thought, ChatGPT, again, and LLMs in general, large language models, just are trying to predict what the next best thing to say is, and that depends on who's prompting it and all that kind of stuff, right? It is not sentient in any capacity. But you get to the realm of like artificial general intelligence, where the thing can start putting concepts out by itself, which is unique. But that's a completely different discussion than large language models, right? I could see a realm if you start doing those brain organoids we've been talking about on here. You start making big matrices of those, that you could get some native intelligence arising from it in unique concepts, just like the human brain, right? Anyways, that's probably really far out. And I would have nothing of value to contribute to that conversation right now, to be honest, just because it's so different than what the LLM is currently. You also have Symphony AI. They're targeting a second half 2025 IPO with $500 million revenue run rate. They're probably going to hit around that, if not a little bit more, because they're making 310 right now. Symphony AI is cool because it's the actual, when you're getting that conversation, I was talking yesterday, and I did have some people email me, so thank you for that. Again, we were talking about that Goldman Sachs investment paper, right, on AI, being a huge sink of CapEx, and it's not producing anything back. Symphony AI does that, right? It predicts demographic growths in certain areas. Folks, thank you so much for joining me. We have a Basil replay. He was on at 8 a.m. He's going to be on next. And then we have Steve Rhodes after that. Thank you.